次了。Let's just try to figure out.
それでは、ただいまから日米豪印外相会合に関する共同記者発表を行わせていただきます。まず、上川外務大臣からご発言いただき、続いて、ウォンオーストラリア外務大臣、ジャイシャンカルインド外務大臣、ブリンケン米国国務長官の順にご発言をいただきます。それでは上川大臣、よろしくお願いいたします。
本日、豪州のウォン外務大臣、インドのジャイシャンカル外務大臣、そして米国のブリンケン国務長官を東京にお迎えをし、日米豪印外相会合を開催できたことを大変喜ばしく思います。4大臣で地域の戦略的な課題、日米豪印の協力について突っ込んだ意見交換を行うことができました。日本での外相会合の開催は約4年ぶりの2回目となりますが、その間も法の支配に基づく自由で開かれたインド太平洋の実現に向けた日米豪印の連帯とコミットメントは日々強化をされてきました。同時に今もロシアによるウクライナ侵略は継続をし、東シナ海や南シナ海における力による一方的な現状変更の試みや、北朝鮮による弾道ミサイルの発射が続くなど、国際秩序をめぐる不確実性が増大し、国際情勢は不透明さを増しております。こうした中におきまして、同志国の外務大臣が集まって戦略的な議論を行い、我々日米豪印が地域のニーズに耳を傾け、課題解決を約束をし、その約束を着実に果たし続けていく、このことが確認されました。今回我々が一致した協力について述べたいというふうに思います。まず第1点、第1次でありますが、4つの海洋国家の集まりであります日米豪印の原点とも言うべき海洋秩序の強化による協力です。我々は海洋状況把握から現場の法執行に至るまで包括的な協力を進めていきます。その観点から海洋状況把握のためのインド太平洋パートナーシップをインド洋地域にも拡大します。また海上法執行等に関する能力構築支援の連携や、また海洋に関する国際法についての対話も行ってまいります。第2に、我々は科学技術の進歩等による地域の新たなニーズへの対応も進めてまいります。具体的には、オープンランのパラオでの展開や、フィリピンにおけるサイバーセキュリティ分野での能力構築支援を着実に実現してまいります。第3に、我々は地域の緊急事態に迅速に対応していく用意があります。人道支援、災害救援にかかる4カ国の支援調整が始まり、5月の PNG における地滑り被害においても、日米豪印で連携して支援を実施いたしました。これは我が国が重視する人間の尊厳の観点からも重要な取り組みであります。最後に、女性平和安全保障 WPS アジェンダの重要性についても、日米豪印の共同声明に初めて明記をいたしました。また今回、偽情報の拡散を含め、外国による情報操作や、また干渉への対応についても確認いたしました。これらの協力も地域秩序の維持・強化のために不可欠なピースであります。このように今回も日米豪印がさまざまな協力を約束することができました。このことは国際社会の共存共栄のために日米豪印が今後とも協力し続けていく決意の証に他なりません。今後も価値を共有し、地域の課題を解決する意思と能力を有するこの4カ国が、地域が真に利益する協力を企業や国際機関等ととも 連携を重ね、進めてまいりたいと考えております。
ありがとうございました。続いて、ウォンオーストラリア外務大臣からご発言いただきます。よろしくお願いいたします。
Can I first thank Foreign Minister Kamikawa and the Government of Japan for the wonderful hosting of this Quad Foreign Ministers meeting. We really appreciate it, and it's always wonderful to meet not only with the Foreign Minister but with Secretary Blinken and External Affairs Minister Jaishankar. We've all arrived here from Vientiane after attending ASEAN and East Asia Summit meetings, and it's a reminder that all four of us are comprehensive strategic partners of ASEAN and respect its leadership and its role and centrality in the regional architecture. I'm here in Tokyo for the second time in 2 weeks, having attended the Pacific Islands Leaders Meeting hosted by Prime Minister Kishida, and we also thank the Government of Japan for that work. We live in a time where our world and our region is being reshaped. Conflict is risking lives and is costing lives. Extreme weather threatens food and water security, and long-standing rules are being bent and twisted or broken. Countries face coercive trade measures, unsustainable lending, political interference and disinformation. All of these encroach on the ability of every country to exercise its own agency, to contribute to regional balance and, most importantly, to determine its own destiny. For Australia, this Quad partnership is central to how we respond to the circumstances we face, and it is critical to how we influence the shaping of the region and the world in which we live. We want a peaceful, stable and prosperous region, a region where sovereignty is respected and in which competition is managed responsibly. We've often spoken about the Quad enabling choices. We mean that in 2 ways. First, we are enabling choices in terms of the character of the region we want, a region in which sovereignty and the capacity to both agree and disagree is safeguarded. But second, we seek to enable choices in a practical sense by bringing together the advantages, the comparative advantages that these nations before you offer, and offering that practical assistance to meet the region's needs. I've had the opportunity in recent weeks to discuss with Pacific and ASEAN colleagues the priority they place on enhancing connectivity in the region and in the world. And today, Australia has launched our new Cable Connectivity and Resilience Centre, our contribution to the Quad Leaders Partnership for Cable Connectivity and Resilience. This is about supporting the resilience of undersea cable networks in the Indo-Pacific, providing technical assistance and training and bringing together governments and industry. We have also announced our first 70 Quad infrastructure scholarships for participants in both the Pacific, Southeast Asia and South Asia. So from building cyber security capacity to combating illegal fishing, Quad partners are expanding cooperation and using our comparative advantages for good. We all know we cannot achieve the region we seek alone. And just as we benefit from the complementarity of our partners, so does our region, because of our geography and our shared approach to building prosperity and reinforcing stability. All of us want a world in which disputes are managed by rules, by talking, by cooperation, not by force or raw power. But most importantly, we understand that this does not happen on its own. We have to make this happen. We do this by being active. We do this by exercising our agency. We do this by contributing to a strategic balance in our region so that no one country dominates and no country is dominated. And we do this by a combination of reassurance and deterrence and by working transparently and openly with partners. And we do this by responding when we or our neighbours are in need. So my very sincere thanks to Foreign Minister Kamikawa and the Government of Japan and to my ministerial colleagues and friends, Tony and Jay, for this meeting. It has been constructive and positive. It has been very open and I welcome this conversation very sincerely. We look forward to what comes next. Thank you.
ありがとうございました。続いて、ジャイシャンカルインド外務大臣からご発言いただきます。よろしくお願いいたします。
Let me join my Quad colleagues to thank Minister Kamikawa Yoko for hosting us today, and also in sharing our readout on the meeting and the progress of the Quad. Allow me to make 5 points. First, as the person, not just the Foreign Minister, longest associated with the Quad, the real satisfaction I have is to see how deeply and systemically it has now got embedded in our foreign policies. Certainly, meetings such as the one we have just concluded are hugely helpful in giving direction. But the fact is that different agencies of our government and stakeholders beyond them, and this keeps expanding, now regularly interact with each other to take it forward. And our leaders have personally led the Quad's growth. Second, do appreciate what an expansive agenda we have built up in the last few years. Think about it. We are working from trusted telecom technology and undersea cable connectivity, you just heard Minister Wong talk about it, to humanitarian and disaster relief, Minister Kamikawa spoke about that, critical emerging technologies, cyber and health security, climate action, infrastructure, capacity building and training, STEM education, maritime domain awareness, and counterterrorism. And this, by the way, is the abbreviated list. There are 16 working groups, and we have just today agreed on more things to do. All of us are looking at how to advance Quad, how to resource it better, how to coordinate more closely, and I think we made some important steps today in that direction. Third, this is not a talk shop, but a platform that generates practical outcomes. For example, our HADR conversations are reflected in understandings and SOPs between our navies. The Indo-Pacific Maritime Domain Initiative that came out of Quad today links our information fusion centers. The Open RAN network that we have spoken about so much is being deployed in Palau. A space-based climate warning system will be launched soon in Mauritius. Off-grid solar projects are actually happening in Indo-Pacific Islands. During COVID, we cooperated to deliver vaccines to countries in this region. And the first cohort of Quad STEM fellowships is passing out, and the second one will also cover the ASEAN. Fourth, while I have given specific examples, it is important that we all connect the dots. The overall messaging is that our 4 countries, all democratic polities, pluralistic societies, and market economies, are working together for a free and open Indo-Pacific, for a rules-based order, and for global good. That, by itself, is a powerful stabilizing factor in an uncertain and volatile world. And fifth, there is a strong interactive dynamic between the Quad and our respective bilateral and even trilateral relationships. Progress on one front strengthens the other and thereby enhances the value of the Quad. We have been able to engage together with some other countries in this region in furtherance of a shared agenda. So, ladies and gentlemen, friends from the media, these are challenging times. Whether it is stability and security or progress and prosperity, good things don't happen by themselves. They need trusted partners. They need international cooperation. The Quad is a great contemporary example of both. As in the past, I'm very pleased with what we have discussed and what we have achieved today. Thank you.
ありがとうございました。続いて、ブリンケン米国国務長官からご発言いただきます。よろしくお願いいたします。
It is a particular pleasure for me to be with these colleagues and these friends. Yoko, to you, to the government of Japan, thank you, not only for the hospitality and for organizing us, but for your leadership. and to my good friends, the Foreign Minister from Australia, Foreign Minister Wong, and the External Affairs Minister from India, Shankar. Thank you for the quality of the conversation and the work that we're doing together, not only today, but virtually every day. If my colleagues will indulge me for just 1 minute, I want to speak quickly to the elections that just took place in Venezuela. We applaud the Venezuelan people for their participation in the July 28th presidential election. We commend their courage and commitment to democracy in the face of repression and in the face of adversity. We've seen the announcement just a short while ago by the Venezuelan Electoral Commission. We have serious concerns that the result announced does not reflect the will or the votes of the Venezuelan people. It's critical that every vote be counted fairly and transparently, that election officials immediately share information with the opposition and independent observers without delay, and that the electoral authorities publish the detailed tabulation of votes. The international community is watching this very closely and will respond accordingly. Now, to the business of today. This is in the category of everything's been said, but not everyone has said it. So I suspect this will sound familiar because of the very eloquent presentations that my colleagues have made. But let me just reinforce some of the things that they've said. This is a moment of unprecedented strategic alignment among our 4 countries. We have 4 countries that are united by a shared vision for a free and open, connected, a secure, a prosperous, resilient Indo-Pacific region. That means, simply put, that problems are dealt with openly, rules are reached transparently, applied fairly, that goods, that ideas, that people will flow freely and lawfully across land, across cyberspace, the open seas. And we're also united by a shared belief that together we can help shape this future in ways that bring tangible benefit to the people we represent and many other people throughout the region. Now, our 4 countries are home to nearly 2 billion people. We have a combined GDP of nearly $35 trillion. We're responsible for about 30% of the global foreign direct investment stock. We are committed to putting our collective resources, our collective strengths to work to benefit people across the region that we share. Just over the past several years, the Quad has launched and delivered on ambitious but also very practical things in our agenda. One that respects the centrality of ASEAN, the leadership of ASEAN, the Pacific Islands Forum, the Indian Ocean Rim Association, and other regional bodies. And it complements the growing network of interconnected alliances and partners within the Indo-Pacific that are increasingly as well linked to other regions. Today, we discuss concrete steps to advance this cooperative agenda. First, we are charting a course for a more secure and open Indo-Pacific and Indian Ocean region by bolstering maritime security and domain awareness. In practical terms, what does this mean? It means strengthening capacity of partners across the region to know what's happening in their own waters. 2 years ago, we launched the Indo-Pacific Partnership for Maritime Domain Awareness, bringing cutting-edge technology like signal location data and satellite technology to countries all across the region. These capabilities, for example, help countries crack down on illegal, unregulated, unreported fishing. They help them predict natural disasters. They help them mitigate the effects of climate change. They help them enforce borders. And we agreed to extend this partnership to the Indian Ocean via India's Information Fusion Center. We continue to work with partners to ensure that freedom of navigation, overflight, the unimpeded flow of lawful maritime commerce, that these continue to go forward. They are critical to the region's security. They're critical to its ongoing prosperity. Second, we are helping to accelerate the Indo-Pacific's path to even greater prosperity by harnessing the power of digital and emerging technologies, and again, doing it together. Today, we took the first step to launching the AI Engage program, funding opportunities for collaborative research to leverage these technologies, like artificial intelligence, like robotics, to help improve things like agricultural productivity, food security, things that matter profoundly to so many of our people. We're growing the region's tech ecosystem through the Quad Investors Network. It's bringing together investors, corporations, public institutions, for joint ventures in things like clean energy, chips, critical minerals, quantum technology. We're also bolstering security and resilience, as you've heard, of the underseas cables that connect all of us. Upward of 95% of digital traffic is carried by these cables every single millisecond of the day. So far, we've trained over 1,000 telecom professionals across Southeast Asia, South Asia, the Pacific Islands, on manufacturing, on delivery, on the maintenance of cable infrastructure. This week, we announced a new cohort of Quad Fellows. We're sponsoring top STEM students, those who have masters or PhDs, to come study in the United States. We just expanded from Quad countries to include students from all across Southeast Asia. Third, we're deepening our collaboration on humanitarian assistance and disaster relief. This cooperation laid the groundwork to send some $5 million to Papua New Guinea after the landslides this spring. We're working to finalize a response mechanism to make coordination even more effective and immediate to deal with future disasters. Of course, in the context of our discussions today, we also talked about regional and global security priorities where Quad engagement and leadership makes a big difference. Our collective resources, our strategic thinking, our relationships, our consultations, all of these are important to address the challenges. The DPRK's destabilizing and unlawful missile launches, Russia's ongoing war of aggression against Ukraine, and of course, the conflict in the Middle East, the war in Gaza. We're grateful, I must say, on the part of the United States, grateful to our partners for the strong support for the ceasefire proposal that President Biden put forward, and we're working every single day to bring that across the finish line. When our leaders were gathered at the G7 in Hiroshima in May of 2023, President Biden predicted that a generation from now, people will look at the Quad as a force that, as he put it, changed the dynamic not only of the region, but of the world. Today's meeting, all of the energy, all of the commitment, all of the collaboration that we're able to bring together gives me great confidence in the Quad's future and the shared future that we work to represent. Thank you.
ありがとうございました。以上をもちまして共同記者発表を終了いたします。上川大臣、ウォン外務大臣、ジャイシャンカル外務大臣、ブリンケン国務長官、ご出席を賜りました皆様、ありがとうございました。プレスの皆様、4大臣が退場されるまでそのまましばらくお待ちください。ありがとうございました。
大家都说我变漂亮了，其实是气色好，肌肤保湿做得好，气色自然漂亮。 我选择 KS 皇家呵护芦荟保湿舒缓凝胶，因为它用国际芦荟协会认证高品质的库拉索芦荟，含有大量的粘多糖体，类似于玻尿酸，可以帮助锁住皮肤水分，让肌肤长时间保持水嫩，还运用 TTS 技术增强芦荟的生物活性，修护舒缓日晒后的各种不适。KS 皇家呵护芦荟保湿舒缓凝胶，帮助您随时拥有水润肌好气色，呵护您，呵护全家人，专属你的 KS Royal Care。